I used to think of pain as a misbehavior. And I finally started to really question that when I got into the neurology of pain and brain science and pain science. And I reformulated how I look at that. Pain is protection.
Hello, welcome to Resonate, Conversations and Life Lessons from Rancho La Puerta. I'm your host, Barry. My special guest today is Nathan Briner. Nathan started his career as a massage therapist. He became very interested in the human body and what makes it work. He studied yoga and Pilates extensively and began teaching. He noticed that a lot of his class participants and clients were in some form of chronic pain. So Nathan continued to study and take workshops and has opened his own pain clinic. He has made a career out of helping people have less pain or no pain, more enjoyable movement, and more enjoyable lives. I know that when we're in chronic pain, I have been guilty. Sometimes we do something instinctively that we think will help, and Nathan has pointed out that sometimes those things only make our pain worse. So I'm really looking forward to my conversation with Nathan today and some of his ideas of how to reduce pain and have a more enjoyable life. Hey Nathan, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you taking the time.
Good to be here with you, Barry.
Yeah, and you're coming all the way from an hour up the road in San Diego, right?
That's right. Beautiful, sunny San Diego, man.
Right. So you have your business is it True Balance?
That's right.
So what is the premise of your business?
Main thing that I do, I kind of consider myself a movement therapist, and people come to see me for all sorts of things. Usually it's chronic back pain, hip pain, knees and shoulders. And I work with them through Pilates, yoga, fitness, and help them get out of the rut they've been stuck in and back into their lives.
So your career started with more fitness-based things, right? I know that you studied Iyengar yoga, right?
Yes, that was definitely part of it. My career really started back with massage therapy. Back in '97, I came out of college as a geophysicist and put that right into good use working at a restaurant. And then I needed some direction in my world and started up with some massage therapy, developed a really keen interest in it and started to go the therapeutic route with that. And through those circles, started to get into yoga and Iyengar yoga, as you mentioned, and just started to see the benefits evolve in my life and became a teacher and did a really deep dive into the process and how it works and how I can help others with it. Added Pilates a few years later. And have just been a student of all of this stuff ever since. That was back in '97 now, so a long time.
Right. Yeah. It's weird that that's a long time ago, but it is. Yeah. And the premise of Iyengar yoga, how it's different than other yoga, it's very focused on alignment, right? And precision.
In terms of the asanas, yes, the alignment and precision is a huge piece of it. And right along with that goes the element of awareness of one's body, of oneself, that I think is really kind of missing in a lot of the stuff we see out there today. It's often focused on, can I get my sweat on, muscles and all that and physique. But I think the Iyengar approach really brings the inner world out in the practice. I find that to be a huge piece of the puzzle for the people who come to see me in my clinic.
So, and in your clinic, most people come to see you because they're in some form of pain or distress.
Exactly.
Right.
And like I say, with back pain, a lot of times it's folks who've been sitting for careers, and their body is just like, they need some love, they need some movement, but they don't know how to do it themselves. Or they've been to PT, they weren't able to make much progress, or they just want some guidance on how to get going. They're not sure how to do it or how to be consistent. So that's where they'll start to come to me, and we build a team together and get them a good program going. Get them on the consistency train, good things happen.
So what would be the difference of if someone came to see you, what would be the difference of you coming to see you and coming to see a physical therapist or another kind of therapist?
Well, one of the big differences I see, and I talk to a lot of my clients about their PT experiences. I'm all for physical therapy. I know it's absolutely necessary. But maybe you've heard stories about this too, where people go to physical therapists and they sort of feel treated like another number.
Right.
They get maybe 15 minutes with the actual PT. Then they're shuttled off to an aide. They pull some exercises off the shelf and it's like, okay, let's go through these. These are the back pain exercises. But there's no camaraderie, no connection with the people.
Mm.
And often, not always, but often, the people, the patients don't feel like they've been brought into their own healing process. And
Right.
so one of the big things that I do is really communicate with my people. I connect with them and I help
Right.
them connect with their bodies. And I find that that is one of the most active and effective
Mm.
ingredients in getting people better.
Right. So how has it changed over the course of, I don't know how many years, but since 97? How have you seen, because I know that I have exercise science in my background. I worked in a physical therapy clinic as well.
Yes.
And so the things that there was this kind of traditional things that you just did to fix, you have low back pain, stretch your hamstrings and strengthen your core and you're done.
Right.
So how have you seen that change?
Well, this is a big question that we can spend some time unpacking. Um, just a little step back into my history. What tends to happen with therapists, and I think it still happens today, is we go through these various courses to learn various ways of helping people, right? We've got
Mm-hmm.
ART, MAT, Pilates, and all the various things we could go hours on,
Mm-hmm.
so many acronyms and so forth. And so you learn a technique because the technique is supposed to fix something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has been a modality or mode of thinking that we've had in our therapeutic world for decades and decades.
Mm-hmm.
That I have a technique that fixes pain. And through my 30 years of doing this and a lot of frustration, I've found that that equation doesn't really work, that a technique fixes something.
Right.
What I have found is that we can use exercise, hands-on therapy, tools like foam rollers, stretching the hamstrings, core strength, and all that stuff as like almost like a sonar ping where I'm going to use something to approach your body. But
Mm-hmm.
then we have to complete the circle. And what I mean by that is then how did the body respond?
Mm-hmm.
Did it recoil? Was there more pain? Did the person actually understand what movement was asked of them?
Mm-hmm.
So if we change the perspective of it, I can say that I now have a palette of tools of ways to approach a body. Could be Pilates, yoga, foam rolling, all the things I mentioned before, right? Or physical therapy. But now, how did the person respond? And this is the new chapter that I opened up in my work and that I have found incredibly helpful is that now that the person is involved, there's what's that called? A dialectic? Is that the right word? Or, a connection between the people. Now we have an energetic connection and I can get them to start to feel their body.
Right.
And this is where the healing occurs. It's not just because I threw some super awesome exercise at you,
Right.
but now the person goes, oh, I didn't even know that my leg wouldn't go out that way. How do we approach getting that leg to go out that way, free up the hip musculature,
Mm-hmm.
and give the body a chance to turn down that volume of pain?
Yeah. I think one of the things that it makes me think of is that there's 8 billion people on the planet, and there's not a single one of us that has the same genetic makeup.
Right.
So it's like one size fits all isn't necessarily the case. And I know that, like, as you mentioned earlier, it's no fault of the physical therapist because my physical therapist saw 20 patients an hour.
Oh my God, right?
So, I mean, and that's what they had to do. So when someone comes to see you, you're spending like an hour with that actual person, right? And
Yes,
I think that makes a huge difference for
I
sure.
totally agree.
Yeah. So what I imagine that there's some people that have acute pain and some people have chronic pain. Do you mostly get the chronic pain people?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Acute pain stuff, for the most part, you can throw a little Tylenol and ibuprofen at it. If we're talking, they stubbed their toe or they just moved wrong, and that pain will usually resolve itself. But it's the stuff that gets stuck in the system that's been there for, say, 2 months, 6 months, several years. That's the stuff where we really have to start to apply these concepts that I'm talking about to get the person out the other side.
Right. Do you get referrals from physical therapists and from doctors?
I do actually. A couple of the people that I met at the ranch made good connections with, and in fact, I happen to be working with a client today who is a new referral from that doctor, and it's really good to have those connections.
Right. So tell me, so I would imagine that for most people, back pain is the most common thing you see?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And do you think that's just is that a factor of our lifestyles and our
I would
posture?
say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
so much sitting, and just not a lot of varied movement in our life, And people even say, "Oh, I go out for walks. I'm moving," but that's such a linear activity, And we've got
Mm-hmm.
such a greater opportunity for movement that people don't do. But I think
Right.
the sitting, the compression, and all of that really, and by the way, in a sitting posture, just to take kind of a little detour, when we're sitting, those back muscles are chronically stretched. The tendons and ligaments are chronically stretched.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that position, we need to give the body a chance to get back, pull itself back together. And that's where I think this movement, especially I love Pilates for this, because it works that area so well, is to get those tendons back to where they need to be.
Do you think, what are the benefits of stretching and what are some, because I think stretching has been on the cutting block for years.
Absolutely agree.
Yes or no, dynamic, static,
Sure.
it's kind of a crazy thing.
This is my perspective on stretching, and I'm a yoga instructor still of 30 years, right? So when I say that I'm not a fan of stretching, people might go, wow, well, that's kind of weird to hear. How can you be a yoga instructor and say that? But if I describe a general stretch, let's say you lie down, you put a strap around your foot, and you pull a straight leg up into the ceiling because you're going to stretch your hamstrings, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Usually we consider we're in a stretch if it hurts. If you think about it, right? That leg, from the floor to 45 degrees to maybe 60 to maybe 70. And now at 70 or 80 degrees, it's like, ooh, there's the back of my leg. I'm stretching. I don't see it that way. I see that sensation as the body saying, you're at the end of my tolerance right now.
Right.
What we usually do when we feel that sensation, we pull harder because I'm tight. And so we try to override the body's protective mechanism. And done chronically, and especially yoga instructors, I find women, unfortunately, are kind of guilty of this, especially bendy people. I'm one of them, and I know this because of experience. And we just keep pushing against that sensation boundary. I'm going to call it pain now, not stretch, and pushing and hoping that we'll finally kind of break through that, or our body will let go, and that end range won't be uncomfortable. But I'm here to guarantee pretty much everybody still has that end range feel, and they keep forcing through, and it's not going to change. So what I would rather people do is approach that end range feel and learn to respect it for what it is, a boundary. And I want people to learn to be strong in that position. So once again, if I'm on the floor, I take my leg up, I feel that boundary. I would want to put hamstring muscular resistance as though I'm going to push my leg straight back down to the floor. So now I have control there, and my nervous system isn't like, why does he keep pulling on me and pulling? Now I'm in control. I'm building actual stability around all the tendons and the sciatic nerve and everything else.
Right. I can remember having personal trainers take my arms and then just pull them beyond where I could pull them.
Yes.
So that space between where I can effectively hold the stretch and where someone else can pull me to, that's the scary area. Is that
Absolutely.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's where injury occurs.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you call it scary, because it really is. And if you're even saying that, your body is acknowledging that's like, I'm not sure I should be here. I can't control this on my own.
Right. And I think it's a misconception about what pain is telling us. What do you think pain is telling us?
I love this question, because this has been the biggest transformation in my career. What I used to think of pain as a misbehavior. And by that, I meant my client or myself, we have pain. It's got to go. I don't care what it takes, any technique, just get the pain out of here. And I finally started to really question that when I got into the neurology of pain and brain science and pain science. And I reformulated how I look at that. Pain is protection. If you think about pain, what does it do? It slows you down or stops you from moving. Typically, if we have pain, we withdraw from activity. We can sometimes withdraw socially. So everything it's doing is trying to get the system out of danger so that the healing process can occur. So then let's kind of put the old mode of therapy on top of that model. And it says pain is a misbehavior. So what do? We stretch everything really hard. We push on things. We try to get that pain out of there. But like I was talking about before, there's no interactivity with the nervous system that is producing the protective pain.
Right.
So what transformed in my work is that I started to see that pain as an opportunity to approach softly, slowly, and calmly. And my job as a therapist is to figure out where I need to enter the system so that I'm not another threat. What movement? And here's a simple one: pelvic tilts. You're lying on your back. Your knees are bent, your feet are on the floor, and you rock your pelvis back and forth. Innocuous, right? Super easy on a system and a body. And the body can go, I can do that. I'm safe. Okay, so we move that protective barrier or that comfort barrier up just a little bit. That's awesome. Next exercise, we add a little something. Maybe we put one leg up in the air. Do your pelvic tilts. Body's like, cool, I can do that too. What if we put both legs up? That hurt my back. Okay, we found our threshold. And so my work then is designing a program to slowly work each exercise that's under the radar, and it builds confidence. Every exercise builds the next step of confidence. And that's how I can get the system to feel safe enough to no longer need pain. That's how I look at it. And that has been so effective for me and my clients.
And that's kind of more of a modern pain science.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be the wave that takes over therapy in general. We have all the tools in the world and they're fantastic. But what we've not approached is the nervous system that is taking on these techniques.
That's the next thing I was going to ask you. How does the nervous system play into all this?
This is the key. That is the living system that we're working with. And before, I think that we gave all credit to exercise. I'm going to say kind of a wild thing. Exercise doesn't heal anything. It has no healing power in itself. Let me just course correct that for a minute and say, yes, you get stronger. Yes, you can build more connection and strength to do all the things you need to do, but that doesn't necessarily change pain. Pain is an output of a nervous system. Essentially, what we're trying to do with the nervous system is use all these good exercises that we have at our disposal, but use them skillfully to approach the system that is producing the pain. Not that I have a perfect exercise. Like, for example, you go on to Instagram these days, do these 3 exercises to fix your back pain. Goodbye. I mean, at best, we're going to get somebody to move, and that's good stuff, and maybe put a little strength and integrity in the body. But until you have that completed circle with the nervous system that shows you how it's responding, I don't think we have a healing therapeutic intervention yet.
Do you? I feel that today, people in general, their nervous system is pushed to the edge every day. Everyone just seems so much more charged that way. Do you think that is actually leading to a lot of the pain and stuff that people have?
Without question. I think that people are pushed in the red. You know, if we consider a gauge from 0 to 100, we want to be able to have kind of right in the middle, the ability to go into the parasympathetic system easily and the sympathetic active fight or flight system easily. We need both of them. But I think a lot of us are stuck over on this side and we don't know how to get into the healing side of that gauge very well. And I think it's important to talk about, again, stretching, because if you go to classes, for example, yoga classes, you've got chronic pain stuff and you keep pushing into that boundary, that pain boundary, you are literally telling your system you're under threat. It's constantly battling that end range feel and trying to support and protect itself. So with a little shift in how you approach a yoga class or even a fitness class, you can help your body expose itself to more of the parasympathetic healing system. Breathing work, pranayama, the things that are out there to help people get back into that system, I think are vital and really underexplored.
So that's one of the little tricks to calm the nervous system. Are there some other things? Like I've had people like tapping or doing these kind of things, all these different things to humming even.
Humming is a great one. The way to work with humming as a breath technique, you take a gentle, full breath in, and then as long as you can do a humming exhale. So that extended exhalation, it automatically taps into your vagus nerve and helps bring down the system into the parasympathetic side of the equation. For me, I have a deep bias as a yoga instructor for the power of breath work.
Yeah.
And I know the Wim Hof thing is all the rage these days,
Right.
but it is very much a sympathetic side of the equation. More of a fight or flight thing. It revs the system. That's the first stress with the deep inhalations, exhalations. And then an extended and long breath hold. That's another stress on the system. So I like to get people to go the other way with slow, soft, maybe box breathing, but very light, or extended exhalations via humming or something like that. I want somebody to come away from a session just feeling completely relaxed and calm so that even the mind is calm.
Right.
And it will help with pain.
So another observation I've had, because I worked at a sports medicine clinic at one point where we did, this was in the 80s, where we did fitness testing on everyone. So for some reason, we have this idea of there is a normal and a good and an excellent for everything. Like and so everyone's pushing there, but I personally don't think there is a normal for the whole population because everyone is so different.
I agree. I think we're just scratching the surface still. Like you said, those fitness tests and the high school tests. If you could do 100 pull-ups, you're good to go. But if you can't, whatever, all that stuff. Yeah, I think there's a long way to go.
Hi, I'm Deepa Kouzis, a fitness instructor here at Rancho La Puerta. I'm part of the longevity staff here, and what's so great about this program that we've started at the ranch is we are designing workouts on mobility, flexibility, strength, and high-intensity interval training based on all the latest research coming out from Peter Attia, Huberman, Dr. Stacey Sims, all their research related to what's going to help us age better, longer, and increase our health span, and not just give us a longer lifespan.
I hope you're enjoying today's podcast as much as I am. To learn more about our wonderful presenters and exciting weeks coming up at the ranch, go to rancholapuerta.com and check out our events calendar. Make sure to mention the podcast when making your reservation to take advantage of a special offer. Some restrictions may apply. Posture's a big thing these days too. And I know you've worked a lot with posture. So I don't imagine there is a perfect posture. But how does posture play a part in all this? And I know that there's a lot of hacks out there on the internet of things you can buy. I mean, I even got guilty and bought this little strap I wear in my shirt that holds my shoulders back and down. And I know I have a friend who has this little thing that she puts between her shoulder blades, and it beeps on her phone if she needs to pull her shoulders back. I mean, there's all kinds of things like that.
Those particular devices, I'm a little leery of, only because I don't really think the shoulders back thing is the solution. Where I feel, especially if we're talking about kind of this zone here for posture, it's going to come from the spine first. In Iyengar yoga, we call it the dorsal spine. So if you think of a dolphin and their dorsal fin in the back, kind of that zone right there, basically the bra line. That zone has to learn how to gently come deeper into the body so that the heart and sternum can rise. When that happens, the shoulders will automatically part and make way for that posture.
Right.
And before you mentioned that there is no perfect posture, and I really agree with that. And while I was at a time really harping on posture, it was my thing. I have a program called Posture RX. I still know the value of it, but the way I approach it is different. We are all built differently. Our spines are different. We have different curves. We have different capabilities. I happen to have just a really flat spine genetically, so I kind of stand up straight anyway. But for me, it's less about trying to get someone into a posture, and it's more about helping them recover all of the motion that they have potentially in their spine. And what I mean by that is, can you move to the left, the front, the center, the back, and around freely and completely? Right. And what I find is when people do recover that ability, the body organizes itself in the most efficient posture for that body.
Right.
And that's what I help people kind of keep strong within, is that posture that their body opens up into, and it can utilize, and it does the best it needs to do. It doesn't have to look like the book straight up and down.
I also feel that what we do all day, we talked about this earlier, sitting at a computer all day. Everyone is on their cell phones in one way or another. So your posture gets to a certain way. So does your posture adjust, or your body adjust to that state of being? And then what causes the chronic pain? Is it the straw that broke the camel back, or is your body gonna? I mean, I'm used to doing, like, say I'm used to doing this for 8 hours a day for 20 years. Now, all of a sudden, if I do this, am I gonna get rid of all my pain?
Well, I think there's a lot of habits that develop. If we were to just slump and slouch forward, it becomes our new norm, our new set point.
Right.
And if it's as simple as just this conversation we're talking about here, with the shoulders spread and round like that, the muscles are constantly under tension, the capillaries between the muscles and tissues are all scrunched, so there's not good blood flow. If there's not good blood flow, your body hates it and it will complain.
Right.
So for somebody who's been doing that for years, the challenge is one, to give them the awareness that they have another option. But then the real tough stuff is the consistency and helping them to continuously open up into that new posture. You know, if they come and see me twice a week, 50 minutes a session, and then they forget about it, I don't know how much progress we're going to be able to make. But if I can inspire them to just, you've heard this before, you're at the grocery line and just, I can lift my sternum, draw my dorsal spine in, or I'm brushing my teeth, or anything like that. Just that constant reminder to get back to sort of a neutral zero position rather than all hunched over, I think that's where we need to go.
So a person who is married to their computer for 9 or 10 hours a day, right? Are there a couple things that you could give them, suggestions that would help them throughout the course of their day?
Absolutely. Real simple stuff. It's number one, you've got to take the time. You've got to make time. It's pretty common out there to suggest you set a half an hour timer and then give it a minute's worth of movement every half hour. Get up and get away from it. I know how tough that is too, because once you get into a really good flow with your work, you're locked in, you're dialed in. Right. So one suggestion is every 30 minutes, every hour, let's get some movement. And I'll show you 3 real simple things. I can take my fists and thumbs down, put them right at my temples, and try to get my elbows all the way together, which can be really tough for some people. And then get your elbows as far back as you can. And just run 10 of those real quick to pump and open the chest, kind of like a cat-cow kind of situation. The second one you can do, we'll see if I run into my wall here, but just straight arms directly above the head. And you really want to activate the tops of the shoulders and traps and bring them right up into your ears. And then back down, So we'll call them 10 sitting snow angels. You can do all this sitting. And the last one, you lock your fingers together, press your palms out. This is a classic yoga pose. Take them above your head and look up and hold for about 5 seconds. Activate all of your back muscles to do that. And do another 5 or 10 of those. And just that little series will help get the blood flowing again. And actually can make your work even better because you kind of put everything down for a minute and let the creative juices flow.
Right. Well, I know that there's a few people that I know now that are getting those really slow treadmills that put
to work and walk with
at their standing desk. So
crazy.
That movement must help a lot, keep the blood flow and keep your erector spinae functioning. And
I have to admit, I'm not too familiar with. I know the standing desk, but I didn't realize people were walking and doing it.
Yeah, there's these small treadmills you can buy now. That my son-in-law has one. So he's walking like 1 mile per hour while he's working during the day. So I guess they're fairly new. So I'm curious to see what will happen with that.
I love any amount of movement people can do. I really do. I think if I were to add my piece to the puzzle, is varied motion, which means that we have 3 primary directions we can move. We can fold forward and arch back. We can side bend right and side bend left in various joints and ways, and we can twist around and twist around. I love things like Tai Chi, yoga, Pilates. Obviously, we've talked about that. But to spend 2 minutes a couple times in your day and really opening up all of these different places, I think that's where the gold is going to be found.
Right. Is it naive to think that as we age, we can avoid chronic back pain and neck and shoulder pain?
I think, like you said, there are 8 billion people, and everybody's going to go through what they're going to go through. I'm now 52, and I think pain is part of life. but it doesn't have to be scary. And what I've learned, because I've been doing this for so long, I've learned that the more that you are in touch with your body, the faster you can approach it and get out of trouble. Right. Pain is just, it's going to come. And I think you're a lucky one if it doesn't. God bless you. And I'm super happy for you. But if it does come, the more you know your body, like I say, you know how to approach it. You know, oh my God, I didn't realize I was just stuck in my shoulder. And you know how to unstick your shoulder, and the blood flows and everything. And I think your body also becomes less reactive. Remember, the nervous system is what produces the pain. Your system knows it's safer. And so that you can apply whatever movement makes you feel good, makes you feel happy. And like I say, I think you can reduce the length of time you're in trouble tremendously.
How would someone know that their pain is something that they need to have an MRI or an X-ray based on, or should they just try to work through it and do exercises? Or would you get clients that come to you and you say, hey, I really think you need to probably go get an MRI because there's something more going on here?
That's a great question. And it's a bit of a tough question too. I'm not a doctor, not a physical therapist. I'm just a movement therapist. So I will defer to doctors in a heartbeat. There are certainly red flags out there that you always want to check off. And that would be, I would discuss that with a client individually. But yeah, I mean, if you heard a pop or something like that, bodies do pop, mind you, but you were doing something and pow, you run into trouble. Let's get it checked out. Let's cross that off the list and make sure there's not a problem. Most of the time there isn't a problem. And so, but having that knowledge behind us, then we can approach movement safely. And even maybe you go through a PT for a minute, get them to clear you from all activity, and then we can get after it. One thing that I found that is people will go through back spasms. You ever had a back spasm?
Maybe twice in my life. Yeah.
Okay. And oftentimes it's so silly. You reach for a Kleenex and all of a sudden, oh my God, something seizes up. It's totally innocuous, and your back seizes up. And like some people are put on all fours, they have to lie down, and it seems like this is going to be a life event. I've done it. My back, it's over. I'm 60. I've had a good run. And they're super, super scared, especially if they've never had anything like this before. And this is kind of where the mixture gets a little muddled in terms of MRIs and things like that. But this is where I've had plenty of them. I know them very, very well, where I can really help people go through the process of ticking off boxes if we need to in terms of MRI or X-ray, or talk to a PT, calm the jets a little bit, and then just start to work with them and get them out of that trouble. It can be really scary, but I think with good care, people can make it out the other side and be a lot stronger and understand the process better.
I imagine there's probably some times when you're in acute pain that certain pain medications, maybe ibuprofen or something like that, would be recommended. Do you have any?
Yeah, and I can only say this as a suggestion. What has worked for me, if I ever get myself in trouble, 2 Tylenol and 3 ibuprofen seem to work magic. And of course, that is an individual thing that people have to make their own best informed decision on. But that can be a real lifesaver.
Are there any natural things that you would recommend if someone didn't want to take, or like say someone couldn't take ibuprofen or Tylenol?
Right.
Like there's always arnica, turmeric. Sure. People talk about different things. Yeah.
Voltaren, some people will swear by that. They're selling that in the United States now. I think it's just a topical anti-inflammatory cream.
Do you work with people online? Because it seems like it'd be a lot. You'd have to evaluate their body, spend time with them, find out what's going on. How does that work?
Yes, I do work with people online, and it takes a little bit more connection time to really understand them. And cameras are only this big, and I can only see so much. But I find that we can still make great progress, and it just takes some time to be able to help somebody feel their body more so than an in-person session. But yeah, it absolutely can be done. Right.
Now, and I know that you have taught here at Rancho La Puerta before. We would hope that could get you back down here again, because it would be awesome to have you share your work with our guests, for sure.
It is a goal of mine, for sure.
Okay.
I am maybe looking at later this year, maybe fall, we'll do that yoga that unfortunately I wasn't able to do last year,
Yeah.
but I'm gunning for it. I would love to get back and do a week down there.
Right. And if people want to learn more about what you do, True Balance is the name of your company and they can be found online.
Yes, but best way to look me up is nathanbriner.com. Super simple.
Super simple. Awesome. So my final question is, I'm being a little snarky, but do you think that there's just a flaw in whoever created us in the lower back? I think that whoever created us, the lower back and the prostate were two things that they were like, let's just let that one go.
Yes, there is definitely some questions around that. No doubt about it. The lower back is a funny business, man. I think our lifestyle is probably a lot to blame for it. But yeah, there's some trickery going on down there for sure.
Do you think that our ancestors, when they were hunters and gatherers, had less back pain than we do sitting at our desks?
I don't know.
To say.
I'm going to come at that maybe as a contrarian point of view that I think they probably had just as much pain as we did. They were just worried a lot less.
Yeah.
I think the worry rests on our heads and just makes everything that happens to us feel that much more intense.
Right.
If I double back on the breathing work and things that I've really taken a dive into, I've found that being able to soften my nervous system has made life just feel so much more easy. And it doesn't mean the hits don't keep coming, but you can deal with them a lot more easily. And then, if back pain should arise, it does. But again, it's that much easier to get over.
Right. And I mean, I think all pain, it's a lot of us, goes on internally for us, how we look at things.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you spending this time with me, and it was great talking to you and catching up. And I look forward to seeing you at the ranch in the future for sure.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Thanks so much.
You bet. It's been a pleasure, Barry.
I'm pretty sure that we've all experienced pain and discomfort in our bodies at different times. I certainly have noticed as I've gotten older, I tend to have more aches and pains than I ever used to. In my conversation with Nathan today, he validated this, and I'm definitely not alone about this. And it makes sense because as we get older, we have habits that accumulate over time. For example, when I was 20, I hadn't spent as much time sitting at a desk as I have now at this age. And sitting at a desk is not natural for our body. Your spine is compressed often, head is forward, shoulders are rounded. It's not a natural posture for your body to be in, and it's no wonder that it can lead to pain. But hey, there's still hope. We can strengthen our bodies in the postures and alignments they were designed to support. Nathan pointed out that like most habits, practice and consistency are key to making a difference. Nathan's approach is kind and gradual, using different exercise modalities in a combination of finding ways to calm the nervous system, and in the long term, this can relieve pain and discomfort. Another aha moment I had today was that pain is your body's way of talking to you, and what you're doing to try to cure your pain should not be causing more pain. For example, I've always thought, if my back is tight, I must have tight hamstrings, and I go to stretch my hamstring. Oh my gosh, that really hurts. I must need more of that. Nathan says, no, that is not the case. Nathan encourages us to be patient and realize we can't reverse 20 years of abuse in one afternoon. But in time, you can make improvements in your health and have less pain. I look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Until then, I'm wishing you health and daily joy.